Hey, Lioness, welcome to the show, Lioness Conversations, where we help women be brave, to lead with confidence and joy, and to find your path to the most meaningful work of your life. I'm your host, Jen Porter, leadership and empowerment coach for ambitious and heart-centered women who are ready to change the world. You can find out more at jenportercoach.com, and you can find out how to join the Lioness community. You can also nominate someone or yourself for the podcast. Today, I'm honored to introduce Janice Tam, co-founder and CEO of True to Form, a groundbreaking body scanning and fit prediction software platform, making well-fitting clothing accessible at scale for everyone. Driven by her own experience searching for a beautiful and unique fit for her own body, Janice is transforming the fashion industry by empowering brands with precision body data, ensuring the right fit the first time, and building a more inclusive and sustainable future. Janice, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Jen. Appreciate the kind introduction.
So I'm really excited to share all this with our listeners because it's such a profound invention that you have endeavored. And so first, just tell people, what is this? What is True to Form? Where did it come from? And I guess we'll get to your story, kind of the backstory in a minute, but just tell them like what it is and what you're focused on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So True to Form is a 3D body scanning and size prediction software company. Our goal is to really give brands access to precise body data on every customer shopping their site so that they can deliver the right fit the first time. And so we do that through a scanning application that we've developed fully in-house. And it's the way that a customer can get their own measurements from a simple rotational scan on their own smartphone or their tablet. And then for brands looking to deliver custom fit clothing or made to measure clothing, they can use our measurement system to measure their customers remotely using the application and receive over 60 measurements from every scan.
60? Wow.
Yes. And for brands like regular e-commerce brands that are selling standard sizes, small, medium, large, we have e-commerce integrations that take the technology a step further. So not only are we getting customer measurements from the scanning system, we're also matching it up against the brand's sizing data and providing a visual recommended size for that customer when they're shopping on their site.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So I love this how much online shopping do we do these days?
It's
Right?
everything.
It's always, it
Yes.
feels like a gamble because every company's a little bit different. Even sizing can be different. Yeah. But product to product. And so I love that you've created this because it gives us so many more options to find a beautiful fit. Because that's really what we feel good in, is when our clothes fit well. And, when we have clothes that we enjoy wearing, we feel better.
Absolutely. And I think brands are doing a really good job of catering to different body shapes now. But as a consumer, it can be very overwhelming when you're shopping from brand to brand since there's so much variation in how a brand creates their sizing. Oftentimes, brands are kind of just guessing at what the body shape and size is of their target demographic and creating their sizing standard based on that guess. And so, how do you then interpret that as a consumer, right? And so, our goal is really to reduce that friction in understanding every brand sizing when you're shopping a brand for the first time.
So I'm imagining that there'd be greater confidence from the buyer that the clothing is going to fit. And then there's greater confidence from the company because they know that they're tailoring using this technology so that the customer is going to be happier. I'm guessing there's fewer returns. What are you finding?
Yeah, so the results we're seeing are really strong so far. So absolutely, the first leading performance indicator for us is conversion. So what that means is what percent of shoppers coming to your page are actually purchasing your product. Of course, that's going to be really important. Once you're getting all that traffic to your site, that's the hard part. But then how do you take full advantage of the traffic coming to your site? And so what we're seeing with some of the brands that we're working with is nearly a 4x conversion lift with one of our menswear brands, a 175% conversion lift with one of our bridesmaid gown companies. And so shoppers really, fit is one of those things where it can really put you on the fence on whether or not you're going to purchase.
That is incredible. It's incredible for all parties involved. You want happier customers, and companies want to make revenue, right? They want to sell more of the products. So
Mhm.
what else are you seeing as you share this with more businesses and getting customer reactions? And what other data are you able to find about how this is impacting both on the
Mhm.
company side and the customer side?
So when brands are just starting out, conversion is everything. But as you grow as a brand and you get more and more volume, that's really where the returns problem becomes a bigger and bigger economic problem. So it really impacts your bottom line. And what we're finding in the latest data that just came in is we're driving a 59% reduction in returns for shoppers that actually engage with our size prediction widget. So that has huge implications, of course, for brands. And so not only are we kind of driving top line revenue for the brand, we're also helping with their bottom line as well and making sure that those sales are actually converting to orders that stay with that customer.
Mhm. Incredible. So where did this come from? How did
Yeah.
this
So,
start? And you being willing enough to say, I'm actually going to go for this.
yeah. I'm really lucky to be building with my co-founder, Margaret. She's our CTO and the smartest person I know. We actually happen to be sisters. So very lucky to be essentially born in my family with a CTO. And we're only 15 months apart in age. We're both 5'1", and so very petite and fit squarely within the definition of what we call the hard to fit apparel categories. So that includes petites like ourselves, but also plus sizes, fuller busted, big and tall individuals. If you ask any consumer, more than likely they're going to categorize themselves as a hard to fit shopper. And so this was something that we have a personal passion for. And it started when I was in business school, was really where we got the idea for building something like this. At the time, Margaret, our CTO, she was just finishing up her fifth year at Apple as a senior motion engineer. And so she saw the new technologies kind of come out in AI and computer vision, smartphone technology. And we really saw an opportunity to build something to solve a personal problem of our own. The long story of it actually was we were originally going to manufacture our own custom dress forms to alter our own clothes on. So we couldn't find a mannequin or a dress form that we could use to sew our clothes and make it match our body proportions because we're so petite. And so Margaret was like, hey, we can build a scanning software to create a 3D replica of our torso,
Okay.
3D print it, and then manufacture these dress forms to solve our own problem. So that was actually how we built our initial prototype. It was effectively a virtual replica of your torso that looked like a dress form. It was in 3D and we were looking to potentially manufacture it. But this was a wake of COVID. We were showing it to different people in the industry and they said, hey, we want like a full body avatar, not just the torso. We want to be able to drape clothing on it. We want it to get measurements. We wanted to provide size recommendations. And so that's how it evolved, thankfully, from what was originally a manufacturing idea to a fully software-based business.
Wow. What was your shopping experience like before all of this? Before business school, growing up,
Mm-hmm.
for you?
Mm-hmm. So for me, I always tend to get really overwhelmed in the stores. So it feels like there's so much selection and I really don't love the try on experience in store. But then when you go online, it's almost worse because you get decision fatigue. So there's so many products now, so many different brands and a lot of really new exciting brands that have come out that are targeting specific body shapes. So really cool to see ones that are focused on petite women, for example, ones that are focused on big and tall men. But the question is, when you haven't ever shopped them in person before, you might not be as confident in how that product's going to fit.
Yeah.
And
So was
so,
it a training experience for you? I mean, you would just, would you tailor your own stuff? What did you do?
yeah, so Margaret would definitely tailor her own stuff. So she had a sewing machine. And so she was really the one who was really interested in this idea of creating a custom dress form, sewing our own clothes, fixing them. Whenever I had issues, I would just bring them to Margaret and she would fix them for me. And so for me, I would do a lot of the returning myself if I purchased online because half the stuff wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
And Margaret, her experience with subscription boxes is she would get a whole box of items that were supposed to be tailored to her style. From a style perspective, they were spot on. She loved all of the pieces. But from a fit perspective, 9 out of 10 would not fit. And she would send 9 back and
Wow.
keep one. So
Yeah.
that's
Even though
really
she
where
loved them, they didn't.
that's right.
And so when did you start the business?
We started in the beginning of 2021. So I was in business school at the time. So I was a full-time student and was kind of incubating this business while at business school. Actually, a great time to start exploring because we had all of those resources built for students. I had professors who I could really lean on, ask questions of. At that time, I was really just in the customer discovery phase, and Margaret was building out all of the IP for the business. So she really took the deep dive. She was like, okay, I'm going to quit this job at Apple. I'm going to start building out the IP. We're going to start writing out the patents for this. It wasn't really sellable at that point. So from the business side of things, I was trying to talk to as many people as I could just to make sure there was a market for the technology we were developing.
Who were you talking to? How did you figure that out?
So at first, we went to 3D designers. 3D fashion design was just an emerging industry at that time. CAD software programs, which are these 3D programs where you can create 3D renderings of garments and drape them on 3D mannequins. Those had actually been around for a while, but they were really not taking off until COVID. So end of 2020, 2021, all of a sudden, fashion schools were starting to incorporate 3D design into their curriculums. Tailors were desperately looking for a way to measure their customers remotely. And there was this whole new wave of 3D technical designers that were really willing to be helpful. So we reached out to one of the guilds of 3D technical designers, and we almost got 100% response rate from just a cold outreach on email, which is really surprising. But one of the benefits of kind of building something in an emerging industry at the time in 3D design. So we spoke with those leaders. We spoke with top professors at fashion schools. And we really used fashion schools as a way to test out and kind of beta test, provide feedback on our product as it was still in development.
Was COVID just a big driver for all the online shopping?
Oh, absolutely. E-commerce, clothing e-commerce, it just went skyrocketed after COVID. And so previously, e-commerce was really not a big percentage of overall clothing sales. But post-COVID, it's just been growing and growing, and it's not really going to come back. Of course, there's always going to be a place for in-store shopping.
Yeah.
But the consumer is so much more comfortable shopping online now that it's not something that you can ignore as a brand.
So you don't see that changing? You think it'll continue to stay online?
Absolutely. At least a part of it. I know that, there's always going to be omni-channel components. So a lot of the largest brands are going to have an in-person presence, but e-commerce is always going to be another main driver, especially as a way to communicate directly with your customer. With social media becoming so important, having a D2C channel, so direct to consumer channel, where you're selling directly to your consumer, you're building a brand, you're connecting with your customer, that's always going to be a part of the brand story.
I'm just thinking about how shopping malls are kind of dying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I guess there are certain outdoor malls that are still doing really well, but like the traditional mall that you walk into and all the stores are inside, I mean, they've been suffering for years and years.
It's true. And the area where I live, I feel like every week I see a news article saying another store has closed in the Minneapolis area. And so, yeah, it's definitely the case. I think people don't love as much to go into the mall setting to find items because it's kind of like a treasure hunt. It's really hard to find things that are going to fit you, fit your style, fit your size. And so I think definitely online is a more convenient option.
Yeah, and it's just not always a great experience for so many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you? So I'm thinking about the sort of the psyche, particularly women who when this is made for women. The podcast, that is, not your brand, is made for all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking about how hard it is for women to find clothing, to feel great in their clothing, to know how to put pieces together and make a great outfit, but also just the psychology of the relationship with our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
How much is at play when it comes to a purchase and the customer feeling good? What have you discovered in all of this research and in working with particularly women what have you learned about women?
So I think that sizing and fit for all consumers, but especially women, is quite emotional. You kind of, if you try a brand for the first time and you love the style, but you try it on and it doesn't fit you, that's an emotional experience. And that's like not an emotionally good experience. Oftentimes that may make you never try that brand again. You might not have the patience to go back and try another size. And so you a lot of times only have one chance to have a good emotional connection with that customer for the first time, like making sure that she feels really confident when she tries your brand for the first time. She feels that it kind of fits her body in the way that it should. So that's definitely a theme that I hear over and over again. We talk to consumers all the time to make sure that the experience we're building is something that they would feel comfortable with. And it's of course a tricky space, right? We're talking about a body scanning system. And while we don't force a scan, there's always the option for size prediction to enter your own measurements if you prefer.
Okay.
And we'll create a 3D model based on your measurements and based on thousands of actual body scan data. So you don't have to take a scan if you don't want to.
Interesting. Okay.
It is a visual representation, right? It's a 3D model of what your body shape looks like. And it's a tricky balance to provide something that is like educational enough to inform your purchase, but also something that doesn't create an emotionally bad experience as well.
Yeah. Oh, I love that optionality of having, doing that body scan. So you have a video that you turn around, right, and have your whole body scanned. So cool that you can just do it on your smartphone. But also, if somebody's not comfortable with that for whatever reason, or they don't have technology for it, whatever, they could enter their measurements. And so are there really 60 that they would
So no, so we don't force them to enter the 60. So you just enter your basic bust, waist, hip measurements and your kind of like your gender, your age, your height, and we'll generate a full 3D body model that does reflect over those 60 measurements, right? So you're creating a full 3D rendering based on those entered measurements that you've put in. And then we reflect back, not just a black box, hey, your size medium, trust us. We show you all the different sizes. You can toggle between them and see how the product fits in different sizes based on your style preference as well.
Interesting. So if you're putting in your measurements, the technology is assuming some things about the way that
Yes,
you look. So you're going to get more precision if you're doing the body scan.
that's correct.
Okay. Yeah. And
Absolutely.
People would want that.
Especially if you don't have a measuring tape at home or you don't know how to measure yourself,
Right. Yeah. So what else? So you've talked to the fashion schools, you've talked to brands. What about the consumers themselves? What's the engagement been like in understanding the consumer mindset?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of experimentation to figure out how we want to connect with the consumer because at the end of the day, we're a B2B2C company and that our paying customers and who we sell to are the brands. And it's always going to be free for customers to interact with our tools, but we want to make sure that we're creating a really positive experience for the end user. And so what we've done actually is we run continuous UX studies. So we have a UX researcher on our team. Her name is Perry, and she runs continuous UX studies with consumers to make sure that the scanning experience is as user-friendly as possible. There are so many different scenarios that you can scan in that you have to account for. And so over the few years of developing, we've built in advanced scan guidance to make sure you're conducting the scan in the right way. You're not too far from the screen. You're not too close to the screen. If you move out of frame or if you don't complete the full 10-second spin in place with your phone placed at floor level, we actually automatically prompt you to restart the scan. And so all of those things have been built in over time into our scanning experience. And then for our website integrations, we also run separate usability tests to make sure that this is an easy to understand way to add a scan into the size prediction, enter your own measurements, and get results.
I'm so excited about the product. And I think the listeners are probably so excited to use this. It can only be helpful and have better fit, more confidence in what we're buying. And the likelihood that we get it home and try it on and it fits is really, really high. So let's just pause and let people know how to find this. So like, where can they use it today? And then I know you're only going to grow and grow and grow and have more and more partnerships. But today, how can they use it?
Yeah, so one of the brand partnerships that we just recently launched is with Desi Group, which is a bridesmaid gown company. And if you go to the Desi Group website and you look at the body scan option, you can go ahead and take a scan. And then once your scan is created, you'll receive an email saying your measurements are in. And when you go and shop any of their styles, the size recommendation will populate automatically for all of their styles across their website. And then for any men watching, Jordan Craig is one of our e-commerce brand partners, and our size prediction software is also implemented across their site. So if you shop any of their hoodies or their pants, you'll see a widget that says find your best size on their product pages. You can click that widget and you'll be guided through the process to get your size prediction.
That's so cool. And so what would make a company engage with the product? Because I mean, it seems like there's so many benefits. It's like, why would companies not do this? Why would brands not do this? But is it like customer demand, or what would make them say, okay, we're going to try this technology?
Yeah. For the brands that are like the best fit for what we're looking for, they are really struggling to get conversions on their site because maybe they have very specific product measurements and their product descriptions, really detailed size guides on their websites, but they're so long, they're so detailed, customers don't understand how to interpret them, and they're losing the customer at that point. Maybe they're getting a lot of new traffic to their site, people who haven't shopped their brand before, and they're really struggling with that conversion piece. They come to us for that reason. The other reason is brands that are really struggling with really high return rates. So return rates for e-commerce are upwards of 40% or higher. In some cases, we see even 60% return rates. And so return logistics are just extremely expensive for any brand. And so as brands grow in size, they often have whole individuals responsible for bringing down that return rate metric by just a couple basis points. And so anything helps. So if you can bring the return rate down by a couple percentage points, if you can increase conversion rate by just a couple basis points, that has huge implications for the financials of that company. And so those are probably the two biggest reasons that brands kind of seek us out. And then the other is, sometimes we get brands coming to us because their customer service team is just completely overwhelmed. They get requests every day. And this is something we hear from one of our brand partners, Dovetail Workwear, that we're launching with soon. They get multiple sizing questions to their site every day, and they have live agents that are trying to help them sort through it. And so their process of helping guide customer size selection is talking with them on the phone, asking like, what's your measurement? And then looking at the style they're interested in and doing the manual mapping and trying to provide back, okay, given your measurements, this style, and the specifications we know for this style, we recommend a size medium, a size large, whatever it is.
That's a really old system, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the norm. That's what most brands are doing.
Wow.
It's a very manual process. And all we're doing is, really automating that process for them.
And making it so much more accurate.
That's right.
Wow. What are you hearing back from the companies that have implemented this?
Yeah, so we're hearing really positive feedback so far. This size prediction tool is a brand new release, actually just released at the beginning of this year. So we're working with a select group of about 10 companies in pilot programs and doing full rollouts across a number of those brands now. And so with the conversion data we're seeing, the impact on returns we're hearing that this is a technology that really changes the game for them. A lot of these companies have been searching for a solution that works for many years. They're not kind of new to this. They've tried everything under the sun, the older kind of size recommendation surveys that ask you what's your closest size in American Eagle to give you your best size recommendation at Zara. And those unfortunately lean on other brand sizing. They don't drill down either to the individual level. So they don't capture your actual individual body shape, your dimensions. So there's a lot of missing information. And so for us, we understand that fit is so personal. So if you don't have a grasp on what the customer body shape actually looks like, and you don't have a grasp on what the brand sizing looks like, then you can really only move the needle so far.
Right. Incredible. I think everybody should check it out. And I'm thinking about it from the consumer standpoint of like putting pressure on these brands.
Yes.
We need that. Please try this out and see how it'll impact the sales and really just happiness of the customers. I mean, I do want to talk about entrepreneurship
Mhm.
next. But do you measure qualitative, customer satisfaction? Is that something that you're looking at, or that is the brand looking at that, but they may share that data with you?
Yeah, so we do look at customer satisfaction with the scanning software. We have feedback surveys that go out to anyone who submits a scan, asking for ratings and making sure from a usability standpoint and ease of use that it's working well for them. And then we also track that from the brand perspective, especially making sure that the measurements coming back are accurate, that the data coming back is accurate as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think this would be showing up in reviews of people's experience of using the body scan.
Yeah, it's a really good idea. We haven't done too much in terms of like qualitative collection of feedback and surfacing it, but that's definitely something that we want to spend more time and energy on because while we have all of these quantitative results that are just coming in, that's going to be the next piece to really build out the whole story.
Well, I could see that being so important because to your point about these being emotional decisions that are being made when people are buying clothing and then getting them home, and that's an emotional experience too. Of like, I'm excited about this thing. I wouldn't have bought it if I wasn't excited about it. And then to try it on and like the fit or not the fit. We all know what it feels like to put on something that fits like a glove and you're like, I feel amazing. So I would think that the qualitative feedback would be really important, not only
Mhm.
for that brand, but also for other brands to realize, oh, this is like a game changer.
Yeah, I love that. That's great advice.
So what is it like to be a female founder and entrepreneur?
It's been quite interesting. We try not to focus too much on um, the limitations, of course, of being a female founder, but sometimes, there's certain areas where it becomes like obviously brought to light, like raising capital in some cases, or the difficulty in getting certain things done in a way that probably would be easier if we had at least like a mixed team. But we're a team that's like fully female founded. So
Okay.
me and my sister are running this company as the two co-founders. It's primarily a female led team, and we've actually have found a lot of success in that. And we really kind of focus on empowering ourselves to be kind of I don't know, like a model for how you can be successful as entrepreneurs while being women and really leaning into that. I think there are some parts of being in kind of female entrepreneurship communities that all lift each other up. And so, both in business school and post business school, I found kind of female founder communities that have been so, so helpful,
Well,
like
that's how we
to
got
me.
connected,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Through a fellow lioness, Stephanie, right?
Yes.
Stephanie Tam. So yeah, I'm so with you on that. I find that there's so much empowerment in community and
Mhm.
I just hang out with women who lift each other up. That's what I'm about and that's what I attract. There's so much goodness when we support each other and celebrate each other and cheer each other on because there's some really hard days.
Mhm.
And when we have people that still believe in us, when we're questioning or we have our own self doubt, we need those people around us to help carry us through those harder seasons.
Absolutely. There's so much resilience involved in entrepreneurship. You never get so many rejections in your life, right? And so it's so important to have a community to lean on, to have other founders who are going through a similar journey that can kind of resonate with the problems you're going through and kind of keep you pushing along. And
When have you had to be the bravest? Like your lioness energy, which I
Mhm.
consider to be feminine strength and grace and power.
Mm.
When has that really had to come out in your own journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say that especially when we were just starting out with the customer discovery phases and we weren't exactly sure how to position our product, we had to be brave quite a few times. Every 2 weeks, it would be a little bit of a moment where my co founder and I would look at each other and be like, are we doing the right thing? Like, are we heading in the right direction? And it really is a big risk to kind of continue to do that and pursue it, especially full time after business school when giving up other opportunities that were, my prior career dream opportunities that I was looking at that I originally had applied to go to business school for.
Well, and I want to hear more about that in a minute, but your
Mhm.
sister quit her job at Apple. I mean, that
Yes,
was a big risk that she took. Well, I'm
absolutely.
curious about that. I think people have a perception of what one has to have or believe about themselves in order to step into founding a company
Mhm.
or starting a business. the truth is there's a lot of moments of self-doubt,
Hmm.
right? And so when you were in those moments every couple of weeks with Margaret, what was that really like for you? If you could go back in time, kind of
Yeah.
make that come alive for women, because honestly, that's part of what holds women back is the fear, the doubts about taking those risks. And I think sometimes we feel like if we're questioning ourselves, we must not be in the right place.
Yeah. No, questioning is a whole part of the journey, and questioning is actually healthy, right? You want to make sure that at every stage of your journey, you're not just proceeding, like walking forward and going down potentially a wrong path.
Yeah.
And it's really tough in entrepreneurship because you kind of are the judge of whether you're hitting your own milestones and if you're hitting them fast enough and if you're getting the traction that you deserve to see. Everybody else has opinions. Everyone can talk to you for 15 minutes and say, hey, that is a really bad idea, or hey, that's an amazing idea. But really, nobody knows as well as like you and your co-founders really. And so for us, it was honestly like every 2 weeks we would have these really long discussions, really times where we had to really be honest with ourselves and determine whether or not it was moving in the right path, whether we were kind of getting indications that what we were doing was successful and that we're heading in the right direction, that there was a market for it, that we're building something that not somebody else had built already. And for us, it was about making progress along the way and
Mhm.
making sure we had momentum. That was what helped me be brave,
Yeah.
was looking at the past 2 weeks, past month, past quarter, being like, okay, what were we able to achieve in that time? And does that lead us to believe we're moving down the right path, or do we need to pivot?
I love what you're saying. What's standing out to me is the words progress and momentum.
Hmm.
Because those they're a bit measurable for sure, but they're also subjective. And what I find, if you're tell me if this resonates, like for me and a lot of the female founders that I work with, those milestones, we end up needing to move those things because we didn't hit what we thought we were going to hit in the time frame we were going to hit, and that can feel really deflating. But it's just a matter of needing to reevaluate. And I love what you're saying about, am I making progress? Do we have the momentum that we need to get to that next step?
Right. And for
What's
me, and
yeah.
it's so true to for us too, because Margaret and myself, we're just very optimistic people. So we more than often overestimate like how quickly we can get something done, how quickly we can hit that milestone. We're like, oh, we can fix this technical problem in 1 month. And 60 days later, we're still not even halfway through. And that's a very common thing because I think entrepreneurs are historically they're very optimistic people, or else why would we be why would we be building? And so that happens all the time. And it's really about kind of looking back and be like, okay, was that original goal realistic? Are
Mhm.
we working, like, does it look like there is an end to this and where we achieve that milestone? And are we moving in the right direction or not? Being really honest with yourself. But it's a really challenging thing. And it's not like it's solved for us today. We do that today now too, all the time, like doing quick check ins with each other to ask whether we're moving in the right direction, whether we're building it fast enough. As the company progresses, the goalposts always get harder, like they move, they get
Yeah.
bigger. You feel like you need to move faster. And so when you're first building out, it's like you put out a website, you're like, yes, we did something. There's like a lot of like small things that really help build that momentum. And you can win a competition and you feel amazing. As you become a bigger company, then it really becomes, okay, this is really supposed to be a business. We have to be making money here. We need to make this sustainable. And it becomes really real, especially as the opportunity costs that you're giving up become bigger and bigger.
Yeah. I'm curious about the relationship between you and your sister. Did you have a business before? Is this your first business together?
This is our first business together. I've always wanted to work with my sister.
You
So
did. How did
yes.
you know that you would be a good pair? In
So
business, that is.
yes, we are very different people. It's very funny. We're very close in age, but very different areas of expertise. And we trust each other fully. I think that's really the key. Margaret is truly the smartest person I know. I don't know anybody better on this planet. She went to Princeton for undergrad for engineering, then got a master's in engineering. She has many patents under her name. She is just like the quickest researcher. She can like get caught up on like a whole new idea in AI in like 2 seconds. And so I trust her as an engineer more than I would trust anyone else. And I think having that trust in the partner you're working with is so, so important. And on my side, like I do all of kind of the business and commercial side of things, and Margaret has no interest in that. And that's actually perfect because then there's really no kind of like fighting or overlap between our different lanes. We fully kind of wholly trust each other on our two different areas. And so I think that's why we work so well together.
That's incredible. Have you, like, how do you handle conflict, and has it strained your relationship? I think it would strain most any relationship being in business and having so much at stake.
Luckily, we've had decades and decades of learning how to fight with each other, right? We used to play piano duets together. So, if you can get through a piano duet practice, then you can get through anything. So I would say something about my family and working with Margaret is that we know how to fight very quickly and get over it and move on. And so communication has always been one of our, I think, strengths. And when you kind of look at siblings, I think it can go either way. Like either they can communicate really well or really poorly. And luckily, just the way that we were always near each other growing up, we really know how to communicate. And we can fight, but it is really quick. We don't hold grudges. We move on. And we're very forgiving to each other.
That's amazing. I love to hear that. So tell us what's next. What are you working on that people won't see yet, but is in the works? And what's your vision for where you would love for this to be in a year or 2 years or longer?
Yeah, so we have a lot of exciting things in the works. For us right now, my near-term focus next couple of months is spreading the awareness of this new size prediction software we just launched. It brings our technology, which was previously in a pretty niche area of custom suiting, custom bridal, like custom apparel, to something that can really, for the first time, influence everyday shoppers. Not everyone is buying a custom suit every week. So we're really excited about this opportunity in the market that we're entering now. And that's definitely something that's been a learning curve for me, is putting on my sales hat for the first time and really going out and like selling to brands, getting out there, doing outreach to different brands that I think could be good partners for us. But from a product standpoint, we have some really exciting, some developments in the works in terms of bringing in the new generative AI models out there and really up leveling the visuals in our software and providing a engaging consumer experience, an interactive consumer experience. It's a really fun time to be building in this space right now because of the new technologies that just come out constantly, and they just make it easier for us to build. They make it more efficient for us to build. So that's what we have to look forward to.
And is Margaret doing all the iterations on the technology side?
She is head of R&D, so she has a lot on her plate. Yes, she leads up all of the R&D. We do have a developer that's full-time with us as well that does a lot of the front-end work, and so he's a core part of our team. But it is a really lean, scrappy team. We have to be extremely cost efficient.
So I want to explain to the audience, just so that they understand exactly what it is, and for me as well. So the body scan, you would go to a brand that offers you, that has built in your software, and we would use our own smartphone to do to rotate ourselves 360 degrees, and that captures 60 measurements that are then going to help us see on the site how the clothing would fit our body.
That's
and
right.
It also takes that 3D image, and you can overlay the product on that body.
That's what's coming up.
Oh, it's not.
That's the piece that's in development. We're not, right now, the software does not overlay the garment because we're not kind of like the AR, VR, Warby Parker kind of try on. Like really our core competency, our core focus is accuracy and fit first. And then all of the aesthetic draping and engagement tools second. And I think that's really what differentiates us from the other players in the market that have gone first to the AR, VR, engagement, Snapchat filter type of tools that kind of solve for an entirely different objective, which is, does this style fit my aesthetic, but it doesn't have a level of fit accuracy to it. So for us, our first product really focuses on, we show you the full 3D model that you've built, and we show you at key landmarks of the body based on the product sizing. So bust, waist, hip, for example, how does that product fit for that recommended size? And we also show you where hemlines fall. So sleeve
that's what I wanted
lengths,
you to talk about too,
lengths.
because I think those are the areas that we often don't find that fit, and we kind of like either just live with it or send it back. So you're talking about like how it hits at your
on the
wrist,
body. That's right.
At the ankles. Like what are some other of those 60 measurements that we might not normally think of, because we think of the main three?
Yes. So
having in mind about the fit.
Yeah, I think the garment lengths are really important. As somebody who's 5'1", Pants, I need to know whether they're going to be dragging on the floor 5 inches past my feet. And so that's definitely something for pants we really like to show is where are the pants going to fit on your body. And for sleeve lengths, oftentimes you have people, you might be like average, quote unquote, with your body shape, but then your arms might be shorter or longer, or maybe your proportions of your torso are taller or shorter than, like, even looking between me and my sister, we're both 5'1", but our proportions are completely different. So that's really where a tool like this can really help you determine for a blouse, how is that going to fit against your torso? For pants, how is it going to fit against your legs? And that's what's really helpful. On top of that, you can, again, toggle between different sizes. So if you're recommended a size medium, for example, but you prefer your tops to be a little bit oversized, you can select a size large and everything updates. So you'll see the hemlines fall a little bit longer. You'll see how that product is going to fit if you were to pick the larger size. And you can use that to guide your size selection.
And so what is that visual that I'm looking at? Because I'm thinking about the overlay when I think about what you're describing. What are we seeing right now currently when we use that body scan tool? And you're saying the difference between the sizes, we can see it.
Yeah, so the interface looks like the 3D model, and there's two systems of visuals that you'll see. On one side, you'll see the fit landmarks. So there'll be a little bubble like bust, waist, hip. You'll see the points at which we're providing you with whether it's going to be just right, tight, snug, loose, very loose, for example. And then on the other side, you'll see the hemline indicators. And so you'll see dotted lines for where that sleeve length is going to hit on your arm. So if it's a short sleeve, you're going to see exactly where on your arm it's going to fit. If it's a longer sleeve, you'll see the ending of the hem. And then also for pants and for the top lengths, you'll see dotted lines for where that product is going to fit on your body. So while it's not quite an overlay, we are moving in that direction, of course. But right now, the hemline indicators and the fit prediction indicators we found from our research is already moving the needle and helping consumers feel confident in sizing.
So cool, Janice. I love it. Can't wait for this to be everywhere.
Thanks so much.
How do we support you in this? What can listeners do to help you elevate the awareness about this and get it with more brands?
Yes. So if you have a favorite brand that you shop, absolutely, let's put pressure on those brands to up-level their e-commerce sites and bring visual size guidance to their site. You can explore about our tools at our website at true2form.fit. So that's TRUETOFORM.FIT. And that's where you'll see an overview of all of our solutions, and you can direct your friends to that site if you know anybody who works in e-commerce, works at a fashion brand, works at a retailer or brand. We'd love any recommendations you guys have.
Okay. Awesome. And anything else that you want the audience to know about how to find you or promote this or engage with the tool?
Yeah, so you can also check out our app. So we have a web application you can access at web.true2form.fit. And you just head there on your browser using your smartphone or your tablet, and you can try out the scanning experience. If you have any feedback for us, we're always so open to that. So we're always trying to improve the usability of our scanning system. Send me a note. There'll be a contact us button on the app where you can send in your feedback. We're always looking to collect that. So feel free to try it out yourself. And you'll also be able to get your measurements that way. So
definitely. Well, yeah. So it tells you everything based on the body scan?
Yeah. So if you wanted, let's say you needed to get your measurements to go shopping, for example, you can get the app, take the scan, and then you'll be able to access the measurements you need for shopping. And then you can feel free, if you're working with a tailor or a stylist, you can use the app to send your measurements to that person you're working with.
I think we're underinformed about our own measurements.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody
Absolutely.
says, what's your inseam? Like, I don't know.
No idea. Yes.
So it's really empowering. I mean, that's what I love about having information and tools that help us be more empowered in every aspect of our life and work.
Mm-hmm.
It builds confidence and it makes us more effective. It saves us time. I mean, there's all kinds of benefits. And this is just one example of how to be more empowered in how we show up in the world with our outfits.
Yeah, absolutely. It shouldn't be that we have to kind of fit into what the brand's vision is. It's about you kind of finding brands that are building clothes that are for your body, right? So It's about knowing your measurements and knowing what products are the right fit for your body shape, not necessarily conforming yourself to what the brands are doing.
Yeah. And, thinking about the awareness raising, would it be best for people to send your website to their favorite brands, or maybe they know people who are leaders at these organizations? Is that the best way to let them know about what the body scan is?
Yeah, you can absolutely share a website. Or if you'd like to reach out to me directly, you can always email me at janice@truetoform.fit. I'd be happy to chat with you, chat with your friend who works in the industry, and just share more and see if there could be a good fit.
Yeah, make an introduction.
Absolutely.
Okay, so everybody check out the software. So do your own body scan. I'm going to do it. I'm excited to just know more, and I can't wait for more of your software to be plugged in to all the brands that we love. Let's put pressure. Let's invite. Let's invite companies to really consider having this software be part of it, because it's only going to help with sales and, to your point, conversion, lower returns, and have more customer satisfaction.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Jen.
Keep going. I love it. We
will.
love what y'all are doing, and I can't wait for it to continue to take off. So thanks so much for listening and watching. And in the meantime, until the next episode, the lioness in me sees the lioness in you.